Hey guys, welcome back to Mo's Game Table. Today we're going to take a look inside Desert Storm, the 100-Hour War. This is a game designed by Eric Harvey and is published by Accurate Simulations. Well, first off, I want to thank channel viewer and friend Brian Patterson, who sent me this for Christmas this year. Really appreciate it, and I hope you enjoy your Christmas gift as well. Just got this in, so I wanted to share a look inside with you. This is a game that Brian has talked very highly about with me. I was a little curious how you can make Desert Storm into an enjoyable game because it was such an overwhelming win for the Coalition. But Brian said, nope, you got to try it out. It's nicely balanced in a way that is going to be enjoyable to play each time. So he sent me a copy for Christmas, and I'm going to get to find out. But first, we're going to take a look at the back of the box and see what this game's all about. Desert Storm, the 100-Hour War, is a game of the 1991 Gulf War that is easy to play and also an authentic portrayal of Operation Desert Storm. Every major combat unit that participated in the conflict is included, meticulously researched and accurately modeled. Moreover, this game also includes 2 decks of historic event cards that provide a context to the course of the war, and so various factors must be considered, political, economic, diplomatic, each game turn. Every card is a unique, specific historic event that occurred during the Gulf War and can possibly occur during the game. Both sides must manage these event cards while simultaneously conducting a military campaign on the map. However, the game is not strictly a recreation of Operation Desert Storm. Each side can develop all new strategies to win, and the game can even be extended if the Coalition risks advancing directly to Baghdad, changing the historic outcome. Game components: we get a 22 by 34 inch map, 154 counters, 1 rulebook and all your charts necessary, and 2 decks of 30 double-sided event cards. Over here we have an example of the cards, the counters, and the map as well. Game is for 2 players, says easy to play, 2 to 4 hour playing time, moderate for solitaire, moderate for skill, luck effect is moderate, and it is division scale. So let's take a look inside and see what we get. All right, we get our D6, 2 decks of cards, and another pretty neat thing is they added an errata card with the box as it came in. Our rule book, counter sheet, and our map. So let's set up the map and take a closer look at the game. And here's a look at the map that comes with the game. I've got it set vertically, not horizontally like I will when I play. Just wanted you to see it straight up and down so you can see the march up into Iraq. Start off down here in Saudi Arabia. We've got a coalition fleet box down here in the Persian Gulf. Then we have Kuwait, Iraq, and Iran over on the right-hand side. Everything here is very easy to read. Of course, it will be desert, so you're not going to have a tremendous amount of color variation on a map like this, but that's not the important thing. The important thing is knowing all the routes, all the different objective points that you're going to have, as well as the different types of sites that are out there. Got airfields, towns, chemical facilities, nuclear facilities, and missile facilities, things like that that you'll be keeping track of, as well as the oil fields, which are a key aspect in this game. At the top, we have the tracks, and we're going to take a closer look. I'm going to fold down the maps. That way we can take a closer look at all those because, yes, you are right. You do see some card suit up there for keeping track of different aspects of the game, and we'll talk about that here in a second. Now, taking a closer look at the tracks at the top and all the information as well, we've got our terrain effects chart up here giving you all the different types of terrain, as well as their movement cost and combat DRMs below that. To the right-hand side, we have the turn track. Then we also have the known Iraq nuclear, biological, chemical, and missile facilities. And then we have this set of tracks here. And this is where the game is going to be really interesting because, like I was saying before, how can you game out Desert Storm and make it a compelling game for both sides? It's pretty much just a wash. The Coalition is going to come in and just overpower them, which they still will do in this game, it looks like, but you have other aspects that you have to keep in mind. Each of these suits represents something differently. The Joker, that is political achievement, and that's very fitting that the Joker is for political. Spade, moral achievement. Heart is going to be your diplomatic achievements. Clubs are going to be military achievements. And the diamond is the economic achievement. I think these two are very fitting as well. Diamonds, that's wealth, and then club, you're going to club the opponent over the head. So pretty cool way of keeping track of your progress for both sides throughout the conflict. And to win, the Coalition needs to have the upper hand in 3 of these to win the game. Next, we'll take a look at the event cards that come with the game. We have a coalition deck, we have an Iraq deck, and we're going to talk about these cards and what they do in the game, how they work, and how they affect those tracks that we were just talking about with the card suits that you see here on these cards. Every turn, you're going to draw 3 cards. You're going to select 2 blindly, and you're going to discard a third one. These are all, say these are our 2 cards. These are all double-sided, so you have 4 events that you can choose to play. You're going to play one on your turn, one on the other player's turn. So you're going to be deciding strategically how you're going to play your cards. You're going to see if you can get like Iraq Bankrupt, you roll a d6, and if you get a roll of 1 through 5, it is Bankrupt, and then you will move your marker up on the diamond track 1. This one here, Bush says this will not stand. Die roll 1 through 3. If you get within that range, you will be able to move your joker up by 1. And this is all on game turn 1, as you see here. On the back, we have SOF reported behind the lines, die roll 1 through 4. And on the back of the other card, we have Gorbachev supports Bush, die roll 1 through 3. If you don't get that roll and you roll above it, then you don't get to move that marker. So this is where you're going to be kind of deciding where you're going to be playing your cards to move those tracks up and down. You want to move your track up, you want to stop your opponent from moving their track up. So you're going to be thinking about what needs to move, what they need to move, and you're going to be trying to intercept them, stop them. At the same time, you're going to be trying to advance yourself. So it adds another little layer to the game, which is pretty cool. Next, we'll take a look at the counter sheet that comes with the game. We have the Iraq forces on the left-hand side and the coalition forces on the right. We've also got some more of those suit markers here that'll be used for marking down objectives and things like that on the map. And then at the top, you'll be using these to keep track of where you are on the different tracks. Really nicely done counters, easy to read and pre-rounded, so they're going to look beautiful on the map. And lastly, we'll take a look at the rules. This is a 31-page full-color rulebook. On the inside of the front cover, we have the starting coalitions for both ground and air forces. We have the table of contents on the next page, giving you a listing of all the different rule sections. And we have the sample unit types, a breakdown of how to read all your counters. Get it to the introduction, the scale, components, forces, land unit types, and then the setup on page 4. Then we saw those suit markers that we're going to be tracking throughout the game, how those are initially set up. Republican Guard unit setup requirement and Iraqi land unit setup, Iraqi air units, coalition land unit setup, and the coalition border setup restrictions. Stacking, land stacking, each land hex on the map, regardless of the printed terrain in that hex, is restricted to 2 friendly land units. So 2 unit stacking limit per hex. Sea stacking. Although there are no naval units in the game, coalition forces are abstractly represented by the coalition fleet box printed in the Persian Gulf. So there's no stacking limit for that. Then we have air stacking. We get into the sequence of play, event phase, air mission phase, return to base phase, and the land movement phase. Land combat phase, advance phase, and the refit phase. Then we have an explanation of the event cards. Playing your event, determining if the event occurs, which we talked about when we looked at the cards. Remember, you pull it up and you have a die roll of 1 through 4 on this example here. If you roll 1 through 4, you get the event, and that means you get to advance that marker up 1 level. If not, then nothing happens. Air-to-air combat penalty, bombing, resolving a bombing attempt, anti-aircraft and mishaps, return to base, land movement, road movement, zones of control, movement restrictions, sea hexes and amphibious units, air mobile movement, overrunning an airbase hex, illustrated example at the bottom, arriving coalition land and air units, the Saudi Arabian National Guard, 5th Marine Expeditionary Brigade, insurgent ambush, and land combat. Then we get to multiple attacking units, land combat attack procedures, land combat defense procedures, another illustrated example at the top, retreating from land combat, refit, achieving victory. And this is what we were talking about before. The Joker is political, Spade is moral achievement, Heart is diplomatic achievement, Club is military achievement, and the Diamond is economic achievement. And then we have the suit markers, capturing map objective hexes, bombing map objective hexes, coalition casualties, and then the draw game. Then we get to the design notes from Eric Harvey on page 29 and 30. And then we finish out on the back of the rulebook with the arriving coalition units. And that is a look at everything you get inside of Desert Storm, the 100-Hour War. This is a game designed by Eric Harvey and is published by Accurate Simulations. Well, again, I want to thank Brian Patterson for sending this to me. I'm really looking forward to checking this out. And after looking through the rules, this is definitely something that'll be a lot more appealing than I initially thought, just given the subject matter. Okay, it's a 100-hour war between the coalition and the Iraqi forces. The Iraqis are going to stand there and just be a punching bag, just as they were historically. No, in the game, the Iraqis have the chance of winning this game because of playing with those card suits that you can play with. You have the cards in your hand that you can move those tracks up and down. So you do have a way of trying to make it more difficult for the coalition player to win. And playing solitaire, it should be really fun too, because I know some people think that you can't use cards in a solitaire game. Absolutely you can. You just have to be fair-minded about it. And when you're playing one side, you're playing to the best of your ability, and the same for the other. So it should not pose any problem, although it won't be as fun as if you're playing face-to-face with someone, because you never know what they're going to come out with. They're going to make a really great move, or they're going to make a really dumb move that costs them because they weren't thinking far ahead. But either way, it's going to be really interesting to check this out because of that little system that Eric has put in here. So I'm curious how this is going to play, and I'll be checking it out here pretty soon. But Accurate Simulations, first one I've seen from them. They've got two others that I'm really interested in. They've got a Vietnam game that's supposed to be coming out, as well as a Cold War game. So I'm down for both of those for sure. Hopefully we'll hear more from them soon on that. But right now we haven't seen anything new on their website. So if this game interests you, go over to Accurate Simulations and pick up a copy for yourself. Well, I hope that helps you guys out if you've been curious about this one. If you have any comments or questions, post them down below. Thanks for tuning in, guys. See you next time.